Hello, everybody. Bad Weather Freak here. I have another update. It is May 11th, 2022, roughly about 9:22 a.m. And we're approaching to the start of the hurricane season for this year. Now, the Pacific hurricane season is actually starting in roughly 4 days. They start in mid-May. And so, in other words, they start about a couple weeks earlier than we do in the Atlantic. The Atlantic, as you all know, is June 1st. That's the official start of the hurricane season. But as you know, anything can happen. For the past 6 years, we have had a early start of the hurricane season. So far, is not looking like we may start early. I mean, we'll see. I'm going to show you some stuff, which it could happen. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm going to show you some things, and you guys are going to determine if there's a possibility or not. Again, some of these models, what I'm going to show you is about 2 weeks out. But the more favorable conditions are going to be in June, mid-June. And let's actually start talking first of all with this CDAS, sea surface temperature chart. As you can see, let me get my pen out. The majority of the Pacific is still cooler than average. A little warming here, but it's not. It's cooler than normal, and this is because we are in a La Nina year still. Now, one of the things that definitely I would like to point out is the fact that you have all this area here of extreme warming, pretty much. Not extreme, but definitely quite a bit above average, which is something that is going to make a big difference, especially at the beginning or I should say at the peak of the hurricane season. Now, the Gulf has warmed up quite nicely. It has warmed up fast. Some areas, I'm going to show you another graph in a minute. But some areas have actually shown an increase of 5-6 degrees, warming temperatures basically. But overall, it has warmed up significantly quicker than usual. Now, this is what it has to do with the sea surface temperatures globally. Again, warming up of the Gulf and still cooling in the Pacific, which again indicates that we are in La Nina, and everything is pointing out that we're going to have a strengthening La Nina towards the peak of the season. Now, let's take out a few things. This is a different chart, and shout out to Tropical Tidbits for all these amazing graphs and charts that Levi puts out and allows everybody to use. Great work he's doing. Check out his website and donate if you can as well for his work, because he has been putting out amazing work over the years. But back to what we're looking at here. One of the charts here, the majority, as a matter of fact, the majority of where the biggest portion of the development happens is actually above the temperatures, the minimum temperatures that we need to support tropical activity. And again, let's grab the pen one more time. Let me see if I can. Either way. You just look at my cursor basically here. So basically, the Caribbean, Western Caribbean, the Gulf, Atlantic, all the way to a decent portion of the main development area, which is this here, where the majority of the storms starting to form when they exit Africa. It needs a little bit more warming here, especially when you see 24 degrees Celsius. But once you start seeing 26 and more, that is enough to support tropical activity. So as you can see, the majority of the Caribbean islands, Cuba, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Gulf of Mexico, Central America, everything is on the path of warmer temperatures and the path of potential storms. So it could develop actually something. It will sustain it. Now, all the ingredients will have to be just right, but we can see that, at least from a sea surface temperature perspective, is actually warmer, or it is warmer than normal, and it's already ready to support tropical activity. So that's one thing I wanted to show you. I'm going to go back to this one in a minute, but I wanted to show you. Okay, let's take a look at this one. Again, in the negative region, what means is we're in La Nina. The more negative it goes, the stronger La Nina is. And this is, again, representing, this is representing this area here. So this is representing the Pacific around this area, the 3.4 Nino Nino area. And in this chart, you can definitely see a little bit better how much warmer the temperatures are in the Gulf. I mean, you can kind of see how it's yellow, but it's some oranges, and so even some areas are actually showing up in like reddish color, which means well above average, as you can see down here, 2 to 3, potentially even 4 degrees Celsius warmer than normal. I mean, this is something that is alarming, because if you look, let's say my last video that I posted, it wasn't as warm. So we're talking about that every week. It's just increasing and getting warmer. And now this chart was actually published on May 9th. So this is something that it has been warming quickly. It has a few cool spots here, some pretty much north of Puerto Rico and extending into a good portion of the Atlantic. But again, at this point, if these storms, if anything forms leaving Africa and it's heading this way and it curves up, at that point it's almost like, unless it gets pretty close to Bermuda, it doesn't really matter. What really matters is near land and how warm the temperatures are near land. But right now, this is in the middle of nowhere, and it doesn't affect much. So that's what the Nino 3.4 index means. So it has flatline, and we just have to see if it's going to start coming back up, meaning more of a neutral, which is a 0 line here, you see. This is neutral. This is El Nino area, meaning that the Pacific will start warming up and the Atlantic will start cooling. That does not seem is going to happen. There's like no indication that's going to happen. Right now, it is La Nina, and the question is how strong La Nina is going to get. Is it just going to flatline, or is it going to keep dipping and actually becoming stronger? That's going to have a huge impact in the hurricane season. So I'll show you quite a few charts there. Let's take a look at the overall Atlantic and Pacific, a good portion of the Pacific satellite imagery. So right now you see a few showers, few systems here and there, and then you have one system here that seems to be wanting to like flare up. And we have to keep an eye out, because again, this is running fairly warm. So it's kind of early. All the ingredients will have to come in play, but you never know. For the past 6 years, we have had an early start of the season. This is a closer look at the Gulf, and you can see how much warmer it has gone. Again, 2 to 3 degrees Celsius warmer than average. So that's something that, again, we have to pay attention to. Now, let me show you this comparison here, this graph. This graph was taken in May 15th of 2017. And what I wanted to show you guys this graph, because I wanted to compare where are we now in comparison to one of the most busiest seasons, and I would say not necessarily busy, but impactful, because 2017, as you all know, it generated multiple major hurricanes, and multiple major hurricanes made landfall. In 2017 was a year that the Caribbean basically got decimated by Category 3 and higher hurricanes. Irma, Maria, I think Jose as well. And even here in Florida, we were affected by Irma. It was the first significant hurricane that made landfall since 2005. And when I mean significant, I mean major hurricane, like Category 3. You don't need to have a hurricane. I mean, even just a tropical storm can cause a lot of issues like flooding and other problems. But what I mean significant is the strength of the hurricane, like, for example, in this case, a major hurricane. So we went about 12 years without a major hurricane impacting the state, especially the Florida Peninsula. So that wanted to show you this, because look how much cooler the Gulf is. You guys can see a lot of blue showing up, which means it doesn't mean that it's 30 degrees, the water temperature, it means that is under the average. The average is 0. Blue means it's cooler than average. Yellow or brighter color means warmer than average. So you can see how much cooler weather or weather, right? But water temperatures were. The majority of the northern Atlantic was actually covered in the blue or the cooler than average temperature, especially the Gulf. And again, if we go back to, let me see, there you go. Look how much warmer it is. So you can see that there's a significant difference. If I go back, look at the difference. Let me actually do a little bit of a zoom in here, so you guys can see. Now look at the difference. There's basically almost no blue at all in the, just showing here in the northern Atlantic. A little bit here in the coast of Africa, very little. That's gonna change rapidly. Then you see almost none. The majority in general is warmer than average, just about everything. And then more than anything, the Gulf is what stands out. So again, you got that. Now let me go back, show you this one. Again, the difference, much cooler water temperatures here. And then you have a little bit warmer area here in the main development region as of now. Again, we have to keep an eye out. We have to see how things develop. But everything is pointing out, like, I have a feeling, this is my personal opinion, but I have a feeling that Western Caribbean and Gulf of Mexico, we're going to see the majority of the activity this year. Not too sure yet about how it's going to develop here in the main development region, like how much the islands are going to get affected. But my opinion is Western Caribbean, Gulf of Mexico, we're probably going to see the most activity. Now, let me show you another thing here. This is a pattern, precipitation pattern and favorable conditions. So you can see right now we are around here, which is slightly favorable. The more green that shows, that means the better conditions, the wetter it's going to be. And again, we need moisture for the storms to basically form. So right now it's somewhat favorable, but barely any green. As we will move forward, so the further down we go, this is May 14th. We go through like a couple weeks of unstable. Well, not even a couple days. I would say actually 5. I mean, not a couple weeks. At least 5 days actually. But as you move forward, it kind of briefly gets favorable, but then go back again to the same thing where not favorable. Now, once we start getting into the end of May, early June, and mid-June, that's when you see this area right here. Let me point it out. This area right here. So starting here. So May 19th, which is actually about 10 days roughly, or 8 or 9 days, all the way down to even July 28th, that area, that time frame is where we're going to have to pay attention for potential development. And especially here around June 8th, the majority of the main development region area, coast of Africa, all the way to even some parts of the Pacific, this whole area, I mean, a huge area, it has a good potential, or in other words, have favorable conditions of storm forming. So that's something that we need to pay attention to. Now, this is just a quick temperature, water temperatures. Again, warming up. Now we're in the 80s. The last video I posted, on average, about 1 to 2 degrees Fahrenheit warmer. The Gulf, again, that's the most significant change there. Again, this is just a quick, just to show you here. So what basically we get out of this video and all these things that we're watching, everything. Oh, actually, I forgot. Let me show you one more thing, but I'll go back to that thought. But let me show you this. This is the most significant thing that I wanted to point out as well. Right now, like as you guys saw, around 2 weeks from now, if we go back to here, you guys remember what I said, the end of May all the way down to June. This is actually more favorable conditions. What I wanted to point out is this. This is the American model, the GFS. Let's move forward in time. Okay, so this is 90 hours, 96 hours. If we keep moving forward, 170 hours, 186 hours. Now, around 252 hours. I'm sorry, 252 hours, which that's roughly 10 days. So 10 days out. Okay, 10 days out, we are going to potentially start seeing some development. Okay, let's keep moving forward. So you see this low pressure forming here. This is about 264 hours out. Kind of like it crosses Cuba. It leaves the Cuban coast, starts strengthening. As you can see here, 994 pressure, center pressure. As it keeps moving north, stronger, 980s, 985, and finally making landfall in the Florida Panhandle near Panama Beach, Destin area as a Category 1 hurricane, 985 barometric pressure. That means Category 1 minimum at landfall. Now, this is 372 hours. This is exactly about 15 days, 2 weeks. That will take us to the end of May. I wanted to show you guys this because when the models, they start hinting us about something, is because we may have some, that's the word, may have some potential development. Now, with being so far out, about 2 weeks out, I will not take this serious. I wouldn't do that probably any more than, let's say, 3 days. 3 days and earlier is probably going to be the most accurate forecast that you're going to see. Anything past 3 days, it becomes too unreliable and it changes too much. So again, this most likely is going to change. Now, is it going to completely dissipate, not form at all? Is it going to move this way? Is it going to move that way? Is it get stronger? Is it going to get weaker? All those things is what we need to start paying attention. But again, it may not even form at all. Because right now, there's only one model that is predicting this or hinting at it, and it is the American model, the GFS. I checked the Canadian model, I checked the Navy, I checked the European. None of them show activity. There's actually, I take that back, there's actually one model that shows a little something forming here, but that's it. Even this far out, when the GFS has a hurricane, potentially Category 1, making landfall in the Florida Panhandle or the Big Bend area. Again, just start paying attention. Historically, we have seen 6 years in a row, we have had an early start of the hurricane season. Will this be a 7th year? Potentially. Something is being hinted here, where the Gulf is very warm right now. We are going into the what is it called? The most favorable, like more favorable part, or a good favorable part, I should say. It's possible that we may get some actual development. And with that being said, this is everything I wanted to show to you guys today. If you enjoy this video, make sure to comment, subscribe to the channel, share this video. You know, you guys have been great supporting my channel. I appreciate taking the time of the day to watch these videos. I try to do my best to research as much information as I can. Trying to bring as much information, keep you guys safe and updated, as the hurricane season is about to start soon and we're getting closer to it. Now, if you enjoy this video, again, thumbs up, like this video, and appreciate you watching. And other than that, this is basically it, everything I have for you guys. Have a good day. Keep an eye out, and stay safe.